Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 1 hour. Iran vows crushing attacks as strikes hit regional infrastructure. Attacks American steel factories in UAE and Bahrain, an arms factory in Israel. Rumblings within Pentagon come out in open as US Army Chief asked to resign. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres warns of wider West Asia war with dramatic impacts around the globe, urges US, Israel and Iran to pull back. Oil prices surge more than 11% as Trump threatens more heavy strikes, dashing hopes of quick end to the hostilities. Iran says discussing a protocol for Hormuz with Oman, UN to vote on resolution. US President Donald Trump fires Pam Bondi as US Attorney General. Bondi faced criticism over handling of Epstein files and Department of Justice independence. Russia's first Deputy Prime Minister Denis Manturov meets Prime Minister Narendra Modi, also meets External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar and National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, discusses trade, industry, energy, fertilizers, connectivity, mobility and West Asia war. Artemis 2 makes a mighty thrust to move away from Earth's orbit towards Moon. Successful maneuver puts crew on path to enter the Moon's sphere of gravitational influence by Sunday morning US time. Iran's military has vowed crushing attacks against the United States and Israel after President Trump issued a final warning to Iran in his key address to the nation. The Israeli military has said that its air defense systems have detected more missiles being launched towards the country from Iran. The military said in a statement that it had identified missiles launched from Iran towards the territory of State of Israel, adding that defensive systems are operating to intercept the threat. In response to strikes on its steel mills, Iran attacked a facility belonging to the American corporation United States Steel in Abu Dhabi, a U.S. aluminum plant in Bahrain, and factories operated by Israeli arms manufacturer Rafael. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said that strikes on civilian infrastructure would not force Iran to surrender in a post on X on Thursday. Araghchi said targeting structures such as bridges only conveys the defeat and moral collapse of an enemy in disarray, adding that Iran would rebuild any damaged infrastructure. U.S. Army Chief of Staff General Randy George has been asked to step down by Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and take immediate retirement. George, an infantry officer who served in Iraq and Afghanistan, was confirmed to the top army post in 2023. Terms in that role usually run for 4 years. Prior to holding the top job, George was the vice president, in fact, the vice chief of the army, and before that, the senior military advisor to then Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin. George's removal adds to recent upheaval at all levels of leadership at the Pentagon, including the firing last year of the previous chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Air Force General C.Q. Brown, as well as the Chief of Naval Operations and Air Force Vice Chief of Staff. US President Donald Trump said on Thursday that Iran should make a deal before it is too late, posting a warning on his Truth Social platform alongside a video he said showed a major bridge in Iran collapsing. Trump did not provide evidence to verify the footage, but suggested further consequences were coming if Tehran failed to comply with US demands. The UN Security Council is set to vote on Friday on a Bahraini resolution to protect commercial shipping in and around the Strait of Hormuz. But veto-wielding China made clear its opposition to any authorization of the US of force. Also, diplomats said Bahrain, which currently chairs the 15-member Security Council, finalized a draft resolution that would authorize all defensive means necessary to protect commercial shipping. Bahrain had previously dropped an explicit reference to binding enforcement in a bid to overcome objections from other nations, particularly Russia and China. The draft authorizes the measures for a period of at least 6 months and until such time as the Council decides otherwise. However, speaking to the Security Council on Thursday morning, China's UN envoy Fu Kong opposed authorizing the use of force. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres on Thursday reiterated his call for the United States and Israel to stop the war against Iran and for Iran to stop attacking its neighbors. Guterres warned that the world is on the edge of a wider war that would engulf the whole Middle East with dramatic impacts around the globe. The Secretary General said the West Asia crisis has lurched into its second month and warned that the scale of devastation, indiscriminate attacks and targeting of civilians and civilian infrastructure all are growing. Guterres said that diplomatic efforts are underway to find peaceful path forward which deserve the space and support to succeed, anchored firmly in international law, including the UN Charter. The United Kingdom has gathered foreign ministers from 40 countries to discuss options to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Britain's Foreign Minister David Cooper said on Thursday about 40 countries discussed joint action to reopen the Strait of Hormuz as she chaired the virtual meeting, which included France, Germany, Canada, the United Arab Emirates and India. Cooper said Iran's recklessness in blockading the waterway was hitting households and businesses in every corner of the world. The discussions took place after Trump said on Wednesday evening that the strait could open naturally and it was the responsibility of countries that rely on the waterway to ensure it was open. Nepal continues evacuation efforts amid the West Asia crisis. Hundreds of citizens have been brought back from Kuwait. Authorities are arranging special flights for repatriation. A total of 318 Nepali citizens were repatriated from Kuwait on a Kuwait Airlines flight, landing at Berawaha International Airport in Lumbini province. The same operation also brought back the bodies of 9 migrant workers, which had remained stranded due to the ongoing conflict. With air travel disrupted in Kuwait, the Nepal government has been conducting chartered flights to bring back its citizens. Over 2,293 Nepalis have returned in March 2026, while more than 63,000 have registered for evacuation from West Asia. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said on Thursday that his country is ready to share its maritime expertise with partners willing to step up to reopen the critical Strait of Hormuz waterway. In his nightly video address, Zelensky said that Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha took part in a virtual conference devoted to the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. He said that Ukraine has relevant expertise in the area of sea waterways and maritime traffic, including defense and reopening. Zelensky made the statement as dozens of countries held talks on Thursday aimed at forming a coalition to explore ways to reopen the Strait of Hormuz after US President Donald Trump said securing the vital waterway was a problem for other nations to resolve.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine took part in a virtual meeting with Europeans and other partners to discuss the situation with the Strait of Hormuz and the problem with the freedom of navigation there. It is an important issue overall for the global situation and global security. Ukraine has relevant expertise concerning sea waterways, concerning the defense and reopening of maritime traffic. If partners were ready to act, we would consider how we can strengthen them, how we can apply our expertise, knowledge and technological potential.
US President Donald Trump removed Attorney General Pam Bondi on Thursday amid rising frustration over her performance, especially her handling of investigative files connected to the late financier and sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Trump has also reportedly grown frustrated that Bondi was not moving quickly enough to prosecute critics and adversaries who he wanted to face criminal charges. During her time in office, Bondi firmly advanced Trump's agenda and was viewed as weakening the Justice Department's traditional independence from the White House. However, ongoing criticism over the management and release of Epstein-related records, including concerns raised by Trump allies and Republican lawmakers, overshadowed her tenure. Her dismissal may signal strategic chances and changes at the Justice Department. Bondi is the second senior official recently removed by Trump. Trump also announced that Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanchard would serve as acting Attorney General. In a Truth Social post, Trump described him as a talented and respected legal mind. Blanchard, a former federal prosecutor, was the lead lawyer defending Trump in his trial on charges stemming from hush money paid to an adult star. Outgoing Attorney General Pam Bondi highlighted her accomplishments as the nation's top law enforcement official in a social media post shortly after President Trump announced her departure on Thursday. In a post on X, she described the role as the honor of a lifetime and said she would continue supporting Trump through a new, unspecified private sector position. She added that she would spend the coming month ensuring a smooth transition of the Attorney General's office to Todd Blanchard and also expressed gratitude for Trump's trust in her leadership. Known for strongly advancing Trump's agenda, her tenure was ultimately overshadowed by ongoing criticism surrounding the handling of Epstein-related rules. You're watching DD India News. We're heading for a short break, but after the break, school attack in Uganda sends shockwaves. 4 children stabbed to death at a preschool in Kampala. Protesting against US sanctions, Cubans hold rally on bikes and motorcycles in Havana. Marking centuries-old tradition, people observe Easter with torchlight procession in Brazil.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Water influences our lives in more ways than we often notice. It shapes our cities, our communities, and even the childhoods of those growing up on its edge.
That it's not an unlimited ocean available. There are limited resources in it, and we have to adapt to newer ways of fishing so that we survive and our next generation survives.
Project Special is that everyone in the village got involved. They built dams and dug ponds. They also planted trees to help the soil store the little rainwater more effectively and for longer.
Few visitors realize that this stretch of coastline is severely contaminated with toxic heavy metals. Hiking here can be harmful to your health.
If you are able to ease the financial burdens associated with schooling, you have created an enormous opportunity for the most vulnerable children.
Welcome back. After the break, you're watching DD India News Hour. Let's get to more international updates. 4 children were stabbed to death on Thursday at a kindergarten in Uganda's capital, Kampala. Police spokeswoman Rachel Kawala said that the suspect fatally stabbed 3 boys and 1 girl among 14 children present at the compound. In a post on X, Uganda police force said that 39-year-old man has been detained and is being questioned as investigations continue to establish his motive and background. The male suspect gained access by posing as a parent before attacking children aged around 2 and 3 with a knife, he added. Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu has visited Jos after the deadly attack. He met families affected by the Palm Sunday massacre. At least 30 people were killed after gunmen attacked a university community in Plateau State, a region long affected by farmer-herder clashes. President Bola Tinubu reviewed the situation on the ground. He ordered the deployment of over 5,000 surveillance cameras in the state and directed security agencies to launch a manhunt for the attackers, while also announcing a committee to assess victims' losses. The United Nations on Thursday warned that the humanitarian situation in the Democratic Republic of Congo was continuing to deteriorate because of the ongoing violence in the country's eastern provinces. UN spokesperson Stéphane Dujarric said that at least 30 people were reportedly killed on Wednesday in armed attacks in Ituri. He said that it brought the number of civilians killed there to more than 100 since March 11th. Dujarric said that local humanitarian partners had also reported more than 390 abductions during the same period, while new waves of violence had displaced even more people in a territory where more than 50,000 were already uprooted. He added that widespread looting, including of food, medicines and medical supplies from health facilities, had further worsened the conditions.
OCHA urges all armed groups to respect international humanitarian law, to protect civilians and civilian infrastructure, and to facilitate safe and unhindered humanitarian access. The humanitarian response plan for the Democratic Republic of the Congo remains critically underfunded. Sadly, no surprise there. The $1.4 billion humanitarian appeal is only 30% funded, with just over $421 million received so far. As needs grow, the response needs more funding, more cash.
Authorities blamed the Ituri attack on the Allied Democratic Forces, a Ugandan armed group active in eastern Congo that is recognized by Islamic State as an affiliate. In other news, hundreds of Cubans took to the streets of Havana on Thursday, riding bicycles, motorcycles, roller skates and rickshaws in a protest against U.S. sanctions along the city's iconic Malecon waterfront. The procession passed the U.S. Embassy, with demonstrators waving Cuban flags and images of revolutionary figure Che Guevara, while President Miguel Diaz-Canel watched and supported the participants. The rally came as Cuba faces one of its most severe economic and energy crises in recent years, marked by fuel shortages and widespread blackouts, disrupting essential services. With oil shipments halted for months and tighter U.S. sanctions under President Donald Trump, the country's economic challenges have deepened significantly. Cuba has announced a major prisoner release. Over 2,000 inmates are being freed under an amnesty. The move is described as a humanitarian gesture. The Cuban government said 2,010 prisoners will be released after reviewing factors like offences, behaviour, health and time served, excluding those convicted of serious crimes. The amnesty covers youth, women, elderly and foreign nationals, as well as Cubans living abroad. Authorities said The move is part of Holy Week traditions and comes amid ongoing engagements with the US, marking the second amnesty this year. United Nations peacekeepers and Lebanese officials paid tribute on Thursday to 3 Indonesian UNIFIL peacekeepers killed in Lebanon. The ceremony held at Rafiq Hariri International Airport, where UNIFIL peacekeepers carried the coffins of Captain Zalmi Aditya Iskandar, First Sergeant Mohammad Noor Ichwan, and Private First Class Faisal Ramadan into a hangar where framed photographs of the 3 men were displayed besides Lebanese and UN flags. During the ceremony, Major General Abagnara, on behalf of the entire UNIFIL community, presented his heartfelt condolences to their families, to their loved ones and to the Indonesian Armed Forces, and praised the service of the 3 fallen peacekeepers. Myanmar's junta chief Min Aung Hlaing faces a key parliamentary vote. He is seeking to become the country's president. The move comes 5 years after the military coup. Chief Min Aung Hlaing, who led the 2021 coup that ousted Aung San Suu Kyi's elected government, is now aiming to formalize his hold on power through a parliamentary vote. The coup had triggered widespread protests and armed resistance across the country. Lawmakers from the military-backed Union Solidarity and Development Party, which secured a majority of seats, are expected to support his bid along with military-appointed legislators, strengthening his chances in the vote. Let's get you an update on NASA's Artemis 2 mission. The 4 Artemis astronauts fired up their spacecraft's engine to break away from Earth's orbit and zoom towards the moon on Thursday. With enough thrust to accelerate a stationary car to highway driving speed in less than 3 seconds, the Orion capsule engine blasted the astronauts on their trajectory towards the moon. They will loop around it during the 10-day Artemis 2 mission. The burn, lasting just under 6 minutes, propelled the astronauts on their 3-day voyage towards Earth's natural satellite, the first since 1972. The burn came 1 day after the enormous orange and white Space Launch System rocket carrying the Orion capsule blasted off flawlessly from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida for the long-anticipated journey around the moon. The astronauts spent early hours checking systems and fixing minor issues, then marked the day 2 with music and began daily workouts to counter zero-gravity effects. Embassy of India in Washington has congratulated NASA for the historic step. In a social media post, the embassy said, and I quote, "Artemis 2 marks a historic step in humanity's return to deep space and the journey back to the moon. As US celebrates 250 years, we congratulate the entire Artemis 2 team on this landmark mission. As a signatory of the Artemis Accords, India looks forward to advancing our growing collaboration with NASA in shaping the future of space exploration." India on Thursday signed an agreement with Nepal to undertake 7 high-impact development projects in the Himalayan nation under a grant assistance of 4.73 billion NRs. The Indian Embassy and Nepal's Ministry of General Administration signed the Memorandum of Understanding to undertake the projects in areas such as agriculture and health. According to the statement by the Indian Embassy, the projects include the construction of cold stores, construction of school buildings, and a birthing center in various provinces of Nepal. And now we take a look at other stories making it to the headlines from across the world. In Brazil, hooded faithful known as faricocos marched through the cobblestone streets of Goiás during the traditional procession of Fogueiro, carrying torches in a dramatic reenactment of the Passion of Christ. Held since 1745, the centuries-old ritual traces its origin to Spain and Portugal and remains a key part of Easter observance. In the Netherlands, scientists and designers have unveiled a handbag made from lab-grown leather using collagen derived from Tyrannosaurus rex fossils. The teal bag is on display at Art Zoo Museum under a T-Rex replica until May 11th before going up for auction. Researchers say the project showcases the potential of sustainable lab-based materials using ancient protein fragments. In Guatemala, Catholic worshippers filled the streets of Antigua to mark Holy Week with centuries-old Easter processions. Dressed in purple cloaks, participants known as cucuruchos carried large floats through the city, continuing a tradition dating back to 1543 that now draws visitors from around the world. You're watching DD India News. We're heading for a short break, but after the break, Prime Minister Narendra Modi lauds the Jan Vishwas Amendment of Provisions Bill 2026, calling it a big boost to ease of living and ease of doing business. India's advanced stealth frigate INS Taragiri will be commissioned in Visakhapatnam today, an embodiment of Make in India spirit. Indian authorities held mock drills in Delhi as part of scheduled civil defence preparedness.
Welcome to Rajasthan, the celebration of India. Rajasthan treats you with its many shades and values. That echoes the idea of India in its philosophy of Atithi Devo Bhava.
Goa, a wild nature paradise, where over a third of the state remains wild today, and every corner is full of surprises. Goa's forests evolve through the seasons. Insects and crocodiles flourish in the monsoon, butterflies in the months after the rains subside, and in the winter, the jungle transforms into a haven for birds. Oh, there's a female right next to him. Oh my God, is that 8 otters? That's one of my favorite things about these forests. There are still so many secrets out there. Watch postcards from Goa on National Geographic.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News. Let's get you a recap of the top stories now. Iran vows crushing attacks as strikes hit regional infrastructure, attacks American steel factories in UAE and Bahrain, and arms factory in Israel. Rumblings within Pentagon come out in the open as US Army Chief asked to resign. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres warns a wider West Asia war with dramatic impacts around the globe, urges US, Israel and Iran to pull back. Oil prices surge more than 11% as Trump threatens more heavy strikes, dashing hopes of quick end to the hostilities. Iran says discussing a protocol for Hormuz with Oman, UN to vote on resolution. US President Trump fires Pam Bondi as US Attorney General. Bondi faces criticism over handling of Epstein files and Department of Justice independence. Russia's first Deputy Prime Minister Denis Manturov meets Prime Minister Narendra Modi, also meets External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar and National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, discusses trade, energy, industry, fertilizers, connectivity, mobility and West Asia war. Artemis 2 makes a mighty thrust to move away from Earth's orbit towards Moon. Successful maneuver puts crew on path to enter the Moon's sphere of gravitational influence by Sunday morning, US time. In the face of rising uncertainty across West Asia, India is stepping up with a comprehensive response. From safeguarding national interests to ensuring stability at home and abroad, the government unveiled a series of measures that reflect both preparedness and resolve. DD India's Rahul Upadhyay gets us more.
Amid the evolving situation in West Asia, the Government of India continues to reassure citizens with regular updates and decisive action. At a media briefing in New Delhi, senior officials outlined measures to protect energy supplies, safeguard trade, and ensure the well-being of Indians abroad. From the Ministry of Petroleum, Sujata Sharma confirmed that refineries are operating at maximum capacity with adequate crude inventories. She emphasized that there is no shortage of fuel and retail outlets across the country are functioning normally.
हमारी रिफाइनरीज मैक्सिमम कैपेसिटी पर ऑपरेट कर रही हैं, इसलिए सल्फर की कोई शॉर्टेज नहीं है. हमारे रिटेल आउटलेट्स नॉर्मल ऑपरेट कर रहे हैं. इंटरनेशनल वॉलेटिलिटी के बावजूद भी पंप के प्राइसेस में कोई इंक्रीज नहीं किया गया है. भारत सरकार ने प्राइसेस को स्टेबल रखने के लिए एक्साइज ड्यूटी में रिडक्शन किया है. नेचुरल गैस की सप्लाई डोमेस्टिक कंज्यूमर्स को 100% एश्योर्ड है.
The Ministry of External Affairs announced that more than 1,200 Indians, including 845 students, have been safely evacuated from Iran via Armenia and Azerbaijan. This swift evacuation underscores the government's commitment to protecting its citizens overseas.
So far, we have facilitated 1,200 Indian nationals, which includes 845 Indian students, to exit Iran via the land border into Armenia and Azerbaijan. Of these, 996 crossed over into Armenia and 204 into Azerbaijan. Over and above, we have also relocated several Indian nationals to safer places in Iran in the last few days.
In a separate briefing, India's Ministry of External Affairs spokesperson Randhir Jaiswal highlighted India's continued support for the energy needs of its neighbors.
We continue to supply energy requirements to them since 2007 as per the commercial engagement that we have with them. We've also recently supplied fuel to Sri Lanka, 38,000 metric tons of petroleum products based on their request. Also, we have ongoing engagement with Nepal and Bhutan, which continue. So, as also we have some request for supply, not request exactly, but the government of Maldives has also reached out to us for supply of petroleum products.
On the trade front, Love Agarwal from the Ministry of Commerce and Industry highlighted the launch of a dedicated West Asia crisis desk with a toll-free helpline and email support. This initiative ensures exporters receive real-time assistance to keep India's trade lifeline secure. While Additional Secretary in the Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Waterways, Mukesh Mangal, informed that a 24/7 control room is monitoring maritime operations, ensuring uninterrupted shipping and port activities despite regional disruptions.
18 Indian vessels with 485 Indian seafarers continue to remain in the Western Persian Gulf region. The Directorate General of Shipping, that is DG Shipping, in coordination with ship owners, RPSL, agencies and Indian missions is actively monitoring the situation.
The government also announced measures to stabilize LPG and natural gas supplies. Domestic LPG production has been increased, commercial LPG allocations expanded, and PNG connections prioritized for schools, hostels, and community kitchens. More than 55,000 new PNG connections have been added in just 5 days, reflecting the government's push for clean energy expansion. Together, these steps highlight India's proactive approach, protecting citizens, securing energy, supporting exporters, and keeping the economy stable. Rahul Upadhyay's report for DD India.
Russia's first Deputy Prime Minister, Denis Manturov, called on Prime Minister Narendra Modi. First Deputy Prime Minister Manturov briefed Prime Minister on the progress in various areas of mutually beneficial cooperation, including trade and economic partnership, fertilizers, connectivity and people-to-people ties. Prime Minister recalled the successful visit of President Putin to India in December 2025 for the 23rd India-Russia Annual Summit. He expressed satisfaction at the sustained efforts being made by both sides towards implementation of the outcomes from the annual summit, aimed at further strengthening the India-Russia special and privileged strategic partnership. Prime Minister extended warm greetings to President Putin and said that he looked forward to their continued exchanges. The visiting dignitary also held in-depth conversation with External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar on bilateral cooperation, focusing on trade, industry, energy, fertilizers, connectivity and mobility. They also talked about new opportunities in technology, innovation and critical minerals. The two leaders also exchanged views on regional and global developments, including the conflict in West Asia. The visiting dignitary also met National Security Advisor Ajit Doval. A vibrant and insightful roundtable was organized at Consulate General of India, New York, on the India-US trade opportunities in fashion and textile industry in collaboration with the Canvas Global. At the event, Consul General Binaya Pradhan emphasized on the opportunities in the field of textiles and fashion to promote India's trade with the US. The discussion spotlighted sustainability, innovation and resilient supply chains, reinforcing India's growing role as a trusted global partner in fashion and textiles. Both houses of India's Parliament, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, have passed the Jan Vishwas Amendment of Provisions Bill 2026 on Wednesday. The legislation aims to promote a governance model based on trust and proportionate regulation while reducing compliance burden and decriminalizing minor offences to facilitate smoother business operations and improve citizens' quality of life. The bill seeks to rationalize more than 1,000 offences, remove outdated and redundant provisions and improve the overall regulatory environment. It envisages a shift from criminal penalties for minors, technical or procedural defaults to civil and administrative enforcement mechanisms. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Thursday welcomed the passage of the Jan Vishwas Amendment of Provisions Bill 2026 in Parliament, calling it a major step towards enhancing ease of living and ease of doing business in the country. In a post on social media platform, the Prime Minister said, and I quote him, "A big boost to ease of living and ease of doing business. It is a matter of immense delight that Parliament has passed the Jan Vishwas Amendment of Provisions Bill 2026. This bill strengthens a trust-based framework that empowers our citizens. It marks the end of rules and regulations that are outdated. At the same time, it ensures speedy disposal of cases, reduces litigation burden with decriminalization. What is also noteworthy is the consultative approach with which this bill was drafted. My compliments to all those who have given their insights towards drafting of the bill and supported it in Parliament." In a ceremony that marks a defining moment for India's maritime sovereignty, the Indian Navy will commission its latest stealth frigate, INS Taragiri, at Visakhapatnam today, with Defence Minister Rajnath Singh presiding over the ceremony. As the fourth potent platform of the Project 17A class, Taragiri is not merely a ship, it is a 6,670-ton embodiment of the Make in India spirit and the sophisticated engineering capabilities of our indigenous shipyards. With indigenous content exceeding 75%, the ship highlights the maturity of a domestic industrial ecosystem and now spans over 200 MSMEs, contributing towards government's self-reliance initiative supporting thousands of Indian jobs. Driven by a combined diesel or gas propulsion plant, Taragiri is designed for high speed, high endurance, versatility and multi-dimensional maritime operations. The ship's weapon suite is world-class, featuring supersonic surface-to-surface missiles, medium-range surface-to-air missiles and also a specialized anti-submarine warfare suite. Beyond this, Taragiri is built for the complexities of modern diplomacy and humanitarian crisis.
I ensure survival under combat conditions. This is a hard and big.
Indian authorities held mock drills in Delhi as part of scheduled civil defence preparedness. Let's now show you how it was carried out from various places across the national capital. A civil defence mock drill was conducted at Omax Mall, Chandni Chowk, conducted by the Directorate of Civil Defence to test emergency response systems and improve coordination in high footfall public areas. A similar mock drill was conducted at Taj Palace Hotel in New Delhi, focusing on testing emergency systems and enhancing coordination in handling crisis situations. Another drill at Dr. Baba Sahib Ambedkar Hospital assessed disaster response preparedness, with authorities focusing on strengthening emergency response and coordination during emergencies. Asia's largest Indira Gandhi Memorial Tulip Garden in Srinagar has recorded a footfall of over 1.77 lakh visitors in the first 16 days since it opened to the public. Authorities believe that with the tulips approaching full bloom, the garden is anticipated to witness a sharp surge in visitors in the coming weeks. The garden this year features around 70 to 75 varieties of tulips and remains a major highlight of Jammu and Kashmir's spring tourism season. Take a look.
Bright and colourful tulips are in full bloom at the foothills of the Zabarwan mountain range overlooking Dal Lake in Srinagar, attracting large numbers of visitors every day. In just over 2 weeks since opening this year, the Indira Gandhi Memorial Tulip Garden has recorded a footfall of over 2 lakh visitors. Officials say the crowd includes a large number of local visitors alongside thousands of domestic tourists and a notable number of foreign travellers.
As far as footfall is concerned, by yesterday evening it has been 17 days since our garden opened. Around 2,20,000 people have visited so far. Out of these, around 1,15,000 were local visitors, about 87,000 were domestic tourists, and additionally around 530 foreign visitors have visited the garden as of yesterday evening.
This year, the focus has been on enhancing the overall display with denser flower beds and more appealing colour combinations. Visitors say the garden provides a wonderful experience, especially for those seeing such a vast variety of tulips for the first time in India.
तो यहाँ आके आपको कैसा लगा?
बहुत ही अच्छा लगा है. अपना इंडिया में तो पहली बार मैं देख रहा है ट्यूलिप गार्डन, तो मेरे को तो बहुत ही अच्छा लग रहा है. अच्छा एक्सपीरियंस हो रहा है.
ये वैरायटीज कैसे?
वैरायटी बहुत अच्छा है, डिफरेंट टाइप का है, बहुत ही अच्छा.
Many tourists also appreciated the different colors and patterns along with the pleasant weather that made their visit enjoyable.
How did you like this garden? It's like so beautiful garden. I haven't seen like this such a beautiful garden ever. Like there's so much of varieties here. Each variety is different and you can see the double shades of tulips and single ones.
I like it very much. I had seen it on TV before, but seeing it here in person feels really wonderful. I came with my whole family and we really enjoyed it. It's very beautiful.
As the tulips continue to bloom in full glory, the garden remains a major attraction, adding colour and charm to Srinagar's spring tourism.
You're watching the Indian News. Are waiting for a short break, but after the break, Trump unleashes 100% tariff on branded drugs, further overhauls steel, aluminium and copper duties. Global oil prices skyrocket following prolonged disruptions to oil supply after Trump's address on Iran war. Good Friday being observed globally today. Day symbolizes love, redemption and forgiveness.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Let's get you updates from the world of business now. US oil prices settled more than 11% higher and Brent soared nearly 8% on Thursday in volatile trading as traders worried about prolonged disruptions to oil supply the day after President Trump said that the United States would continue attacks on Iran. The main US benchmark, West Texas Intermediate crude, surged 11.4% to settle at $111.54 per barrel. Meanwhile, the global benchmark Brent North Sea crude climbed 7.8%, ending the session at $109.03 per barrel, reflecting heightened market anxiety over potential impact on global oil supplies. US President Donald Trump has ordered 100% tariffs on certain branded pharmaceutical imports and overhauled steel, aluminium and copper duties on Thursday. Trump said foreign manufacturers of patented products must agree to make deals with the US government to cut prescription drug prices. They must do both to avoid tariffs altogether and will face a 20% tariff if they simply move some manufacturing to the US. Those who do neither would face a 100% duty. The tariffs will not apply to drug imports from all countries. Branded drug tariffs will be capped at 15% under trade deals with the European Union, Japan, South Korea and Switzerland. The US and Britain also finalized a separate pharmaceuticals tariff deal that guarantees zero tariffs on British-made pharmaceuticals for at least 3 years as Britain builds out production in the United States. Trump also issued a separate metals tariff proclamation that halved the duty rate to 25% on many derivative products made with steel, aluminium and copper and dropped them altogether on products with minimal metals content. The move kept in place the 50% duty on commodity imports of steel, aluminium and copper, but according to the official, Trump administration will now apply this rise to the US sales price of the metals, not the declared import value. And from business, we now turn focus to sports. Henrik Klassen's half-century and an all-round masterclass from Nitish Kumar Reddy powered Sunrisers Hyderabad to a 65-run win over Kolkata Knight Riders in IPL 2026 on Thursday. Chasing 227, Kolkata Knight Riders were bowled out for 161 as Reddy and Jaydev Unadkat spearheaded the attack. Ankuresh Raghuvanshi continued his rich reign of form with a brisk 46 before a mix-up with Rinku Singh ended his stay. Earlier, Klaasen slammed 52 of just 35 balls, his second consecutive 50 to propel Hyderabad to a massive 226 for 8 after an explosive start. After an 8-wicket humbling against Rajasthan Royals in Guwahati in their tournament opener, Chennai Super Kings will need to get their act together when they take on Punjab Kings in the Indian Premier League 2026 match at M.A. Chidambaram Stadium in Chennai on Friday. Shreyas Iyer's Punjab, meanwhile, started their campaign with a win over Gujarat Titans. Cooper Connolly's unbeaten 44-ball 72 on his IPL debut helped them chase down Shubman Gill's GT. They put up an impressive bowling display to restrict their opponents to 162 before successfully chasing down the target with 3 wickets in hand and 5 balls remaining. Punjab will look to maintain their momentum and secure another victory. Good Friday is being observed globally today, that is on 3rd of April. The day marks the crucifixion of Jesus Christ and is considered one of the most solemn occasions in the Christian calendar. Take a look.
On Good Friday, churches remain simple and unadorned as devotees gather in prayer, silence, and reflection. The day commemorates the suffering and sacrifice of Jesus Christ, who was crucified at Calvary, offering a message of forgiveness, love, and redemption. Special prayers and processions are being held. Many faithful observe fasting and participate in the way of the cross, recounting the final hours of Christ's life. From metropolitan cities to small towns, the spirit remains the same, quiet, introspective, and deeply spiritual.
God sent His only Son, Jesus, to die on the cross for our sins. So that is what the main thing is, that Christ takes on our sin so that we might be forgiven. So that is the reason why we say it is Good Friday, because our sins are taken away on the cross and we are forgiven. So the central message of the cross is one of forgiveness. And in our world today, as you said, what is needed is the ability to forgive one another. That is not there. We are at war all the time. You can see that around. So the ability to forgive, the ability to love is the central message of the cross. And that's why it is called Good Friday.
Good Friday is not just a remembrance of sacrifice, but a reminder that compassion and forgiveness remain the strongest pillars of humanity. Kriti Vadhera's report for DD India.
That's it in this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. This app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can download the respective QR codes. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.